To the arrest of two people, a man and a woman, upon arrival at Paris's Roissy-Charles de Gaulle airport. They're suspected of having tried separately to join jihadists fighting in Syria. The man is 25, the woman 22. They flew in from Turkey. Joining me now is Wassim Nasr, France 24's expert on jihadi movements. Hello, Wassim.
Hello.
How are former jihadists treated once they arrive in France, or even aspiring jihadists? Is there a difference made between men and women?
There's no difference made today between man and woman. There was a difference at one point, like few months ago. Even there were difference as women were considered as victims or as manipulated. But today the French authorities know, as everybody who follows actually, that women have a big role in jihad, even though it's not a fighting role. And there was awareness happened here in France when the failed attempt against the Notre Dame church, next to Notre Dame church, was foiled by the authorities because there were 3 women behind that attack. And if we look at the media outlets or the propaganda of the Islamic State, we know that they are calling women lately. They called women to be active in jihad, as to fight and to commit attacks. So there's no difference in treatment today, and they are being treated on case-by-case basis, which is normal for a state of law. For inspired people who are inspired by jihadis, of course, who are monitoring jihadi propaganda on the internet, etc., etc. Some of them had very harsh judgments, up to 2 years in prison, which is a very hard judgment. For those who are coming back from Syria, they are having very heavy sentences too, men and women. And because today in French law, with the new laws, it's sufficient for a person to go to Syria or to try to go to Syria in order to be treated as a terrorist who committed a terror attack on French soil, who really participated in the fighting, either in the ranks of the Islamic State or other groups, because today we know that French people are still trying to join other jihadi groups in Syria and the region of Idlib, for example.
Now, with the Islamic State group losing territory in Syria and in Iraq, there are whole families coming back to Europe. What about the children then? How are they treated?
That's the big question that we raised here in France 24 and with you so many times, because it's a real defiance for Western democracies today to know how to handle those children. For example, for those who are born there, I know, because I followed many families, that they are being given French passports or laissez-passer from consulates, for example, in Turkey, in order to be able to go back to France. And once they are here in France, they are given to foster families. So are not given back to their families in the large term of families, because the parents are in prison or one of them is dead. So they are not giving them back even to the grandparents, for example. And today there's a big fight being done by the grandparents in order to be able to get back those children, especially who were born there, which is very, very young. We're talking about children who are 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years old at max. And another question is raised for children who were taken there by their parents, because some of them, all of them actually, witnessed atrocities. Some of them participated in atrocities and even in fighting. For example, we know that there are up to 58 cases of underage youngsters who were brought back to France. And out of the 58, there are 8 cases who are being treated as terror cases, since the children, the youngster is over 13 years old. So each one of them is being judged for terror charges, but by a court for children. So it's very complicated, because this is a problem that should be handled over a generation. And this is a problem that Western countries never witnessed before, knowing that some of those children are really were told by the jihadists of the Islamic State that their own countries killed their parents, etc., etc., etc. So it has to be monitored very carefully. It's not only a case for France; it's a case also for the United Kingdom and for all Western countries. And we can end by another example, a counter-example. Today, we know, for example, that a few days ago, Russia accepted to take back all Russian-speaking families, jihadi families, from the YPG, the Kurdish YPG. They took them all back to Russia. So even not Russian with Russian nationalities, all those who are from former Soviet republics. So each country will have to treat this problem on its way, but it's a really big problem and a big defiance for Western countries.